Toontoy simulates an actual bidimensional drawing pipeline, where you first do the inking, then you apply the color, and finally you add any post-process effect. While other games and technologies mainly use textures to draw the lines, Toontoy looks at each pixel of the screen at every frame, and that makes it possible for us to obtain high details from any content we use and to place cameras at any distance to our characters without compromising quality. We can therefore safely say that every frame of Beyond the Steel Sky is rendered twice. Unreal Engine creates the base rendering, and then Toontoy produces the final image.
Piles of metal cans were crushed into one compact cube of aluminium.
Beneath the Steel Sky, the original game, was released in 1994. It was written in partnership with the wonderful comic book artist Dave Gibbons. Dave and I spoke about writing a sequel many times over the years. Indeed, he recently sent me some ideas that he'd first faxed over in 1995, just a year after the release of the original. In 2015, I was giving a talk in Uruguay to a group of mainly young people and introduced myself by listing the games that I'd written. When I mentioned Beneath the Steel Sky, a cheer went up, and I was astonished that after more than 20 years, the game was still so fondly remembered, particularly by people who would have been too young to remember the original when it was published. Their cheer and the generous comments from fans for over almost 3 decades gave me the confidence to embark on a new Steel Sky game. I'm really grateful to them and to you.
Warning. Extreme measures will be taken against non-compliant pedestrians.
The conveyor appeared to be part of a waste recycling system. The pressure plate appeared to trigger the crane mechanism. The pressure plate appeared to trigger the crane mechanism. The exhaust fan had slowed down to a gentle speed.
I'm so pleased with the way that the Minos hacking turned out. We were aiming to create a gameplay mechanic that wasn't a minigame, but instead meshed completely with the gameplay and drove a key narrative theme. The design for the hacking was actually inspired by a kid's programming language called Scratch.
Minos hacking is very important to this game, and one aspect of Minos hacking that is very important to Minos hacking is the exact and precise wording of every logic block. Through playtesting and iteration, we've found that people can interpret what a block does very differently if you get the wording of the block not quite right. And this presented us with some interesting challenges along the way when it came to translations. As soon as the translators sat down with all of the text, they immediately sent us back a huge spreadsheet of questions all about Minos hacking, because they had to translate this completely in the abstract on the first round. So, for example, they weren't sure if monitor meant to monitor or a screen that you look at, and so forth. And that was a very interesting challenge to overcome.
Alert. Pedestrians now have only 10 seconds to comply. Lethal for alert. Pedestrians now have only 10 seconds to comply. Lethal force authorized. Unacceptable cargo detected. 4YR unit has been alerted to solve the problem.
I am the unacceptable cargo! Let me down! You're risking the future of all the little kids!
I had a charged power cell. How's it going, Wendell?
Can't complain. Not like anybody'd listen if I did.
That's the spirit.
What's on your mind?
So all you need to get into the city is a charged power cell?
Like a cheese sandwich needs chutney.
Here, this should do the trick.
Is that a new power cell? Juiced up? You beautiful man. How did you do it?
Well, it all started with a dead man in the desert.
Not gonna stop you there, chum.
Any story that starts with a dead man is best kept to yourself.
Hey, any chance of a lift into the city?
Typical. No one ever does anything from the goodness of their heart these days.
I just figured that...
Oh, all right. Up in the back. You earned it.
You sure it's safe back here?
100%, lad.
I'll take your word for it.
Just watch out for me neck bursts. I've lost enough business already. As far as I can take you, I'm afraid. You can catch a monopod into the city from over there.
And where are you going?
Straight to cargo. Gotta get these babies
Quarantined?
distributed.
Thanks for the ride, Wendell. Maybe see you again.
Beneath the Steel Sky was written in the early 90s. With the Cold War over, global financial deregulation in full swing, there was profound optimism. But there were subtle societal dangers looming which the game sought to reflect. Beyond the Steel Sky seeks to reflect modern concerns, the rise of AI, fake news, surveillance, online social control, media manipulation and social control that underscore all our contemporary lives. We ask, how much can we trust AI to properly comprehend human behavior, and how dangerous might it be when we do? We hope that this game will feel relevant in the modern day, the perceived notion of well-being and happiness, and how this connects to societies where AI is being used to reward or punish people at micro-level human activities.
Welcome, Citizen Graham. Outdated U-chip firmware detected. Firmware must be updated to use Union City facilities.
I was about to return to give Ember a piece of my mind when...
Transporting you to the nearest safety services.
The stalkers had come into the city. But looking around, that didn't make any sense. This place was a paradise compared to the Union City I'd left all those years ago. Joey had certainly turned the place around. I had to find the stalkers. And whoever he was, Graham was my only lead. I just had to sort out my U-chip problems first. Hello?
Good morning, Graham, Grundy. I trust you are well on this fine day.
Actually,
Aha! Have you tried Dijon buttercream spankles? It's new.
sounds delightful.
That's the spirit. Now, Mr. Grundy, we both know why you're here, don't we?
I guess we do.
Your firmware. It's ridiculously out of date.
Let's get you sorted then, shall we? Go on, place your hand on the platform.
Okay, here goes.
Well, that's very strange.
What's very strange?
What's very strange?
You said that's very strange a moment ago. Something about my data.
I didn't. You said, what's very strange?
I only said it because you said that's very strange.
Great. What else can I do for you, Citizen Graham?
There was something strange about the ID that I had acquired. While she may have lost the plot, I definitely hadn't. So is my firmware all up to date?
It sure is, Citizen Graham.
Now you can get back to being a top-notch citizen again. I see you have 2 weeks of public voting to catch up on. Better find a terminal and hop to it.
Thank you.
Was I helpful?
Yes.
Would you like to fill out a survey?
Yeah. Why not?
Excellent. Question 1 of 100. Are you satisfied?
Whoops. Gotta go. Now that I'd dealt with my U-chip problem, I needed to find out more about my new identity. Graham Grundy.
Welcome to the Piazza. The Piazza is the first view that the player gets of the inside of the city walls, the new Union City in Beyond the Steel Sky. Now, anybody who played the original Beneath the Steel Sky will remember that the city, most of the views of the city, you know, with the exception of the occasional bit of flower arrangement or a fountain on the bottom levels, it was pretty grim. It was barren, it was Spartan, it was militant, it was rusty. Everything had sort of a red tinge about the whole thing. And as opposed to this riot of color and sensory overload that Foster experiences when he first opens the doors and sees all the colorful citizens and all their colorful clothing and all the things that are being offered to them, and the ads and the care that the city has for its people. And this first view, narratively speaking, we wanted Foster to have a glimmer, to have a chance, to feel for a second that maybe leaving Joey in charge at the end of Beneath the Steel Sky was a good decision. Maybe everything did work out for the best. Maybe Milo wasn't brought here. Maybe this is the utopia that everybody says it is. And now, obviously, if you've played the game, hopefully you have before you've been doing these commentaries, you'll know that things don't work out so well. But this one moment of Foster's excitement about the possibility of success is a great one. And I think the art team and the concept team should be extremely proud of this first view of the reboot of Union City put forth for the fans.
Hey, got a minute?
For you, sir? I have all day.
What do you do here?
My name is Hollow, and it is my pleasure to serve the wonderful people of Union City on this glorious Aspiration Day.
And what are you serving?
Well, social climbers can bring their aspiration brooches to me.
And then what?
I use this machine here to customize the hologram projected on the brooch. Isn't that fun?
It's a real parade. What can you tell me about the council?
Nothing that you won't have heard already. However, if you take a look behind my stall, you can catch a great view of the Citadel.
The Citadel?
Where the council are based. It can be seen through the skyline right behind me.
What is an aspiration brooch?
A special wearable reward to Union City's esteemed social climbers. Courtesy of the council.
Yes, but what do they do?
The brooch permits entry to areas around the city, exclusive to social climbers, such as the Old History exhibit in the Museum of New History. It also tells your fellow citizens how great at gathering kudos you are.
Have you heard anything about missing children?
Oh my, that's above my pay grade. Are they social climbers?
No. They were taken into the city from the Gap.
Well, I certainly wouldn't have had anything to do with that.
I'll see you later.
I can't wait. Calling all social climbers. Customize your aspiration brooch here. Calling all social climbers. Customize your aspiration brooch here.
I couldn't access Graham's messages. I added that to my list of things to look into. The robot was spitting out the occasional motivational message.
In the earliest design, Mr. Spankles, King of the Desert, was a character who looked similar to a famous hamburger icon. He drove around in a truck which looked like a large ice cream van. When Foster first arrived at City Walls, he was arguing with Greta about getting into the city, and he was furious that his authority has been revoked. That early design had him attempting to sneak into the city by driving along the land train tracks behind a land train whilst the doors were open. But his truck was too slow, and he got smashed by another land train before he could reach the doors. And Foster then found his van in the sludge and had to remove a bracelet or something like that. After his character was canned, we felt that he was too good to lose. So his creepy Spankles machines litter the streets of Union City and act as a possible misdirection as to why the citizens are always happy. The ghost of Mr. Spankles lives on.
Hooray! Another customer. Please scan your U-chip to place an order. One fresh premium Spankles.
Now that I'd resolved my outdated U-chip problem, it was time to look deeper into my alter ego, Graham.
Welcome, Citizen Graham. Where would you like to go?
I knew Graham had some sort of connection to Milo's kidnapping. His home would be my best, in fact, my only lead. Take me to my home.
Lakeview Apartments. Certainly, Citizen Graham.
The city knew a lot more about Graham than I did. As I arrived, masquerading as a dead man called Graham, I was apprehensive about what I would find. But I had no choice. I had to find the stalker. And whoever he was, Graham was my only lead. The seal on the floor showed my buddy Joey just as I remembered him, when I left him in charge all those years ago.
Hey, buddy, watch where you're standing.
What's your problem?
Your face, for one.
Excuse me.
Well, if you hadn't been staring at the floor like a moron, you'd have seen me.
I didn't catch your name.
I'm your mama.
What? Do you live here?
Do I look like I live here?
I'm not from around here. Maybe everyone here looks like you.
Yeah? And what do I look like?
Trouble.
Keep walking.
Do you know a guy called Graham Grundy?
Nope. Sounds like a moron.
In that case, let me introduce myself. Graham Grundy.
Doesn't surprise me.
Do you know where I can find Joey?
Oh, I dunno, weirdo. They say he walked into the gap, or sailed across the sea. Either way, he abandoned us all in this place.
You don't like it here?
Needs more color, wouldn't you agree?
What happened after Joey left?
Well, duh. Council runs the city now.
I'll leave you to whatever it was you were doing.
Aw, really? I'll miss you.
Yes, I'm very busy.
Hey, Dirtbag! What's your favorite color?
Huh?
You heard me. What's your favorite color?
Green?
Green. Green is not a creative color. Later, man purse.
Later, backpack.
Ha! You got nothing.
Clearly not everyone in Union City was quite as courteous as they were happy. The seal depicted my friend Joey as he looked when I left him in charge of the city. Clearly he'd made his mark.
There were a few different motion capture technologies we used to make Beyond the Steel Sky's animations. We started with Kinect sensors in a small but dedicated room in our offices, and later we acquired a suit equipped with inertia trackers that freed us up to perform in any space. So right from the start, the animators were doing some motion capture acting, which makes the job a more interesting mingling of working at a desk and getting active. So a day of animating might involve warming up and getting into character to record some mocap, generating base animation data to work from in the morning, then reviewing the mocap, selecting the best takes to turn into game assets, and working at my desk in the afternoon, tidying up the animation and adding polish, such as finger animation, that isn't captured by the mocap suit. This mocap performance for Ratgirl was particularly memorable because my colleague Fred and I carefully worked together to get the physicality of her bumping into Foster looking right. She's quite a fun character to perform as because she's rebellious, confident with a bit of a swagger but not too much, carefree and scrappy. Fred was kindly acting as Foster, not in a suit but just being another actor to set up the context of the scene in the space that we had. He let me barge into him, safely, a few times to get some useful takes. Later we swapped over who was in the suit, and I gave him various pushes and shoves to capture the base data for Foster's performance. You can see in the encounter some of the benefits of motion capture. I'm quite relaxed when I'm acting as Ratgirl, so my shoulder may move and then my arm swing after it. Very relaxed, nice and loose. In the 12 principles of animation, this is called overlapping action and follow-through. If you're animating by hand, you need to be attentive to add this detail, where a shoulder moves from A to B and the swing of the arm follows it like a pendulum. When you see Ratgirl nod as she watches Foster, during mocap I was thinking, what a loser. What's this moron doing just staring at the floor like he's never seen Joey before? And I was nodding along to these thoughts performing as Ratgirl. With motion capture, details like these come out naturally in the data because it recorded what actually physically happened with your arms, your neck, your head and so on. This provides richness for the animators to select from. Some of these details we cut out because they're distracting. Others we enhance as they add a sense of this grounded detail to the performance.
Calling the already present elevator did nothing. No surprise there.
Water tank depleted.
Wait, I know that UChip. Oh my, is it really? Yes, it is. Master Graham, you have returned. How wonderful.
Oh, good day, huh?
I shall inform Madam and her guest that you have arrived. She will be so pleased.
No, that won't be necessary.
She will be overjoyed that you have finally returned to the bosom of the family. My apologies for the interruption, Madam Songbird. It's Master Graham.
What about him, Chipworth?
It appears he has arrived home, madam.
He has, but that's wonderful! Oh, thank Joey! My dear husband is back!
Ah, I was hoping to meet you, Mr. Grundy. Mentor Alonso, Ministry of Well-Being. I was just here to investigate some irregularities.
I'm sure my Graham needs a few moments to freshen up. Why don't I show you my kudos records? I don't know who you are, but right now we're both in a lot of trouble. So for both our sakes, you'd better convince the mentor that you're Graham.
Yes, of course.
I'll stall him. Just don't come through that door until you know enough about Graham to pass yourself off as him.
Don't worry. You can count on me. I wasn't sure what I'd walked into. But if I was to convince anyone I was Graham, I needed to find out more about him. His job, his family, his state of mind. The mentor could ask me about anything. Information about Graham was scattered all over the place. All I had to do was look around.